Hi, welcome to Bar Cart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about INNAMORATA by Ava Reid. INNAMORATA is a dense gothic fantasy novel. It is the first book in the House of Teeth duology, and it is lush and soaking with the sort of moth-eaten lace and heavy velvet and the passions of the heart that cannot be denied and the passions of the flesh that must be sated. It is a book that is interested in the body and in the desecration of the body, in the rot of a corrupt regime, in the exercise of power, in the transformation of authority and the overwhelming, undeniable power of desire. This interplay of lust and love and power, and in true Gothic fashion, the rot that is going to tear everything apart. The house cannot stand on its own. It is a Gothic fantasy in the tradition of Gormenghast, the castle of the House of Teeth, this noble house that our main character Agnes is a part of, is called Castle Peak, named in homage to Mervyn Peake, the author of Gormenghast, and that grand sort of specificity of the fantastical tradition is really at play here. These heavy shadows and these movements of sort of grotesqueries and the high and the low-born in our society here. It is a story primarily told from the perspective of Agnes, a young woman whose grandmother has trained her from birth to resurrect the sort of ancestral necromantic practices of this colonially occupied island, and has sought to bring this to fruition through the marriage of Agnes's cousin, Marozia, to the prince of this royal line, Liutprand. But we get some wonderfully delicious complications as Agnes and Liutprand find themselves drawn to each other inexorably, and the weight of duty comes against the sort of tidal wave of desire, with some really exciting twists and turns along the way, and an ending that sets up the second book of the duology, Necromantica, in a really thrilling and game-changing sort of situation. It's really fun. As longtime viewers of Bar Cart Bookshelf will know, I love a duology. I love a matched set of books, the way that they can mirror each other. It is a form of long-form storytelling beyond the length of a novel that really appeals to me, and I'm so excited to see where we go in Necromantica, which will come out in April of 2027. And just INNAMORATA, it stands on its own, but it leaves you yes, I'm ready for the conjoined twin. I'm ready for the second half, the mirror image, and the sort of transformation and revelation that awaits. But it is also a wonderful delight on its own. It is not one that you feel the need to wait for the complete duology to read. It is stately in its pacing, with these sorts of short chapters that nonetheless invite you to sit and think and spend time in the world, rather than being pulled on and on in this sort of propulsive way that some longer novels are. I really enjoyed getting to spend time and to sit with this novel and really immerse myself in the mind of the characters and in the setting, in this sort of grand operatic it is like a set, like the set of an opera. This grandeur and spotlight and performativeness. It's just really, really delightful. Ava Reid is an author that I've wanted to cover here on Barcart Bookshelf for a long time, and I'm so happy that we finally did so with INNAMORATA. And so, of course, we had to have a drink. Our drink today is the Mistress of Teeth, and it takes its name from the title that is held by Adele Blanche, the grandmother, the formidable grandmother, who sort of looms over and haunts our narrative. And we're going to begin with 2.5 ounces of dry vermouth. Agnes, at the beginning of the novel, has a very ascetic lifestyle and drinks only very watered down wine, and so we are going to sort of mimic that with a lower ABV, lower alcohol cocktail. So this is primarily a vermouth cocktail, something that's going to be a fortified herbal wine. We're gardening, we're growing beautiful white flowers and strange psychotropic drugs and things that bloom in shadow and in night. So we're going to get that dry vermouth in there, very pale, herbal, just that hint of brininess as well. This is an island drapane, and so we're going to bring some of that brininess as well. They do primarily drink red wine in the novel, however, and to bring some of that darkness and that bit of underworld flavor, this concern with death, we're going to get 1/2 ounce of pomegranate grenadine. So it's grenadine classic. It's this pomegranate syrup that is scented with rose water and orange blossom water. I have my recipe for how to make grenadine, one that doesn't taste just like the color red, like some of the things you'll find in the grocery store. In my book, Cocktails and Consoles, we got a link to snag that in the description down below. We're going to get that 1/2 ounce of that pomegranate grenadine classic into our Mistress of Teeth here and get that lovely, lush, sort of watered wine, watered blood color to our drink. And then we'll add a couple of dashes of lavender bitters. Get this recurring image, adding about 4. It's easy to add more, hard to add less. I really like that lavender floral herbal quality, so I'm getting that in there. I have this recurring sort of scent image of lavender and wax that I think appears throughout the novel and really left an impression on me as a reader. And then finally, because Drapane is an island and because we're sort of here on the shore, we're going to get a couple of droppers full, just 3 droppers full of saline solution. I've been using that a lot this summer. I'm liking to add just that balancing little bit of brininess to some drinks to add just some wonderful additional depth. And wonderful additional depth really does describe INNAMORATA. We've got all of our liquid ingredients in here. We add our ice last. We always add our ice last, and we want this to be a nice sessionable cocktail, not too overly heavy on the wine. We see some dangers that emerge with that. Definitely does not shy away from the darker themes that we will see in Gothics. We have delicious grotesqueries and desecrations of the body and implications of dark rites and strange rituals that persist in these ancient and noble houses. It's just really atmospheric and grand. It is operatic in, I think, the very best way. We'll give that a nice solid stir. Wonderful. Until our liquid and our ice are at roughly an equilibrium in the glass, and then strain that into a stemmed cocktail glass. And I'm using my laced Nick and Nora today, Perfect. There you go. And there you have it. This is the Mistress of Teeth, inspired by INNAMORATA by Ava Reid. I have got a link to purchase INNAMORATA in the description down below. You definitely want to check it out, and you definitely want to spend the time to read it before Necromantica Book 2 comes in April of 2027. Got a link to pre-order that as well as a link to purchase my book, Cocktails and Consoles, 75 Cocktails and Mocktails to Level Up Your Game Night, and the latest anthology from Neon Hemlock, Shatter the Sun, Queer Tales of Untold Adventure. If you're looking for things that are grand and weird and in this sort of strange, weird tradition of speculative fiction, then you're going to find some really great sword and sorcery adventures there, including my story, The Peacock Wizard and the Cave of the Serpent Queen. We've got links to various forms of social media, including Blue Sky and Instagram, where there is always a written version of today's recipe. Try the drink. Let me know what you think in the description down below, in the comments rather. Hit that like button. It makes me so happy when you do. Really helps us to understand what sorts of books you, the audience, wants to see here on Barcart Bookshelf. And make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already, because we've got some really great books that we're going to be talking about in the weeks and months ahead, both new and returning authors. I'm so excited to be sharing those with all of you. And until next time, cheers.